Hello and welcome back to Adventure Worthy. My name's Lumin, and in this first impressions episode we're having a look at the beta version of Tom Clancy's The Division. Now for those that don't know, and I'm assuming there aren't that many of you considering the hype surrounding this game is just something else, it's absolutely crazy. People have been losing their minds about the fact that a playable version of The Division is coming. And I guess people have been losing their minds for the past couple of years because of the amazing gameplay footage we've seen in videos and stuff, but again, for those that don't know, The Division is an upcoming online-only, open-world, third-person shooter role-playing game. I'm not joking. It's all those things. It's quite a mouthful. And it's set in New York City. I'm not sure how much of New York City we're gonna get to explore or adventure through, but something bad happened. The city has pretty much collapsed. And we, as Division agents, we sent in to try and right everything that's wrong, which is a whole lot. That's all I'm gonna tell you. That's pretty much all I know. I haven't played very much of the game myself, so we're gonna create a new agent now, and we're gonna begin a new mission. Again, don't know what that means, but I'm excited. Seriously excited. I have jumped in and looked at the graphics, and I gotta say, they look good. They look incredibly good. A little too good, maybe, because my PC can't handle them cranked up to the max. There's just no way. But I'm impressed. Really impressed. Again, my PC is not what I'd call top of the range anymore, so it's understandable. You can even see the level of detail here in character creation. Looks pretty good. Now, unfortunately, in character creation, we don't have all the options available. We can make a male or a female, and we can just randomize. So I can press spacebar here, and it'll randomize the appearance of the characters, and then you can see there are a couple of presets that just change slightly every time. There's basically this guy, there's this guy, and there's this guy, and every time you spacebar they look a little different. And then for the females, there's that lady, there's this lady, and there's this lady. That's it. For the most part, you see this guy everywhere, and that guy everywhere. A couple of this guy too. I don't see a lot of women. I jumped in, I was in the sort of opening introduction segment of the game. I saw a bunch of other players there, and they were all just Asian dudes. That's that right there. That's the guy that I saw everywhere. The whole world is just populated with this strapping young fellow. That's what it's like in post-apocalyptic New York. That's what it's like. Now, I'm gonna make a female, because I want to stray from the norm. I'm thinking I'm gonna make the Asian woman. Not sure what she looks like in-game. I'll admit that I actually made... Where is he? I made this guy the previous time I jumped in. He looked good. He looked really good. But I want to try a female this time, just to see what the body looks like, to see what her face looks like, just see how it plays. We're gonna go with her. That's, again, all we can do right now. I am very excited to make a character creation of this game, because it does look like you can get at least some good stuff in there.
Hey! Just hold on! Come on back! I need you! Look, you're gonna be okay. Hell, at this point, you're more okay than me. Shit, that explosion took out the commander. We have a job to do. We're still gonna do it, it's just...
Landing in 1 minute. Should be able to see it coming up on my right.
So there you go, that's a quick look at The Division's beta. Now, whether you watch the single player highlights or the multiplayer highlights, it doesn't matter, you'll see in both of them that I had an amazing time. For those that didn't, check either of them out. If you just skipped straight to the end now, to the conclusion, firstly, I suggest you do check them out because they're pretty amazing. I had to split them up because I played way too many hours of this game. It was only up for a weekend, but somehow I managed to play and record something ridiculous like 4 hours of it. I was having a blast. Most of that time, I think 3 hours of that time was spent in the Dark Zone, but for those that didn't check the highlights out, the single player portion of them, it consisted of me doing some of the main storyline quests. There weren't that many available, but the ones that I did play were great. Lots of really good voice acting, lots of interaction with characters that I want to know more about, interesting characters, and I guess the objectives and stuff that I did, they were cool enough. I did some exploration, I did some side quests, and it was good. You know, my first impressions of the campaign are pretty reasonable. I can tell you now that, and I want to sort of just talk about the single player, get that out of the way, then talk about the multiplayer, get that out of the way. But I can tell you now that I think the single player campaign is going to be okay. It's not going to be mind-blowingly good. I'm sure that as you progress and as you unlock more of your base and expand and stuff like that, the stakes will be higher, the things that you do, the objectives and stuff, they will be larger and grander in scale. Sure, that stuff will happen. You'll start saving more people. You'll start having a bigger impact. But at the same time, you know, I just don't think that this game's draw, the big thing that'll pull all the players in, will be the single player campaign. It'll be there, it'll be good, it'll probably be pretty great actually. But, you know, the main attraction will always just be the multiplayer. And that's good. It's also cool and it's good to note that you can play all the single player stuff with friends. You can play it all co-op. I was a little, I don't know, confused when I first hit into the city because I thought, okay, damn, MMO, let's go. We're gonna see players everywhere. It's gonna be busy. The streets are gonna be hustling and bustling with other people, but no, there was not a single other player to be found. I saw them in like the starter area where I spawned, and then after that there was no one until I got to the Dark Zone. Again, a little bit weird, but it makes sense because they want this city to be a creepy, eerie, dangerous, lonely place. It's kind of scary like that if you're walking around there alone, or maybe just one or two friends. You got your voice chat going, you're talking to each other, you turn the lights down low. Damn, head into those sewers, make an evening of it. Real scary date that, tell you now. Anyway, so the single player portion of the game I think is going to be pretty good, and my first impressions of it are, you know, they're reasonably good too. I only played a little bit of it, and again I will tell you that the characters and the voice acting and the animations and stuff were definitely my highlights. The Dark Zone PvP content that I experienced was some of the best gaming that I've done in years. Now, I may be coming into this a bit of a newbie, like sort of new to this kind of thing, because this game, when you head into the Dark Zone, it functions very much like the other survival shooter type games out there. Maybe I could liken it to DayZ, H1Z1, stuff like that. You know, the other kind of games where you have this proximity based voice chat. That gets a big thumbs up from me, by the way. It works so well. The only like little niggle that I had was that you can't see on the screen anywhere when you transmit, and you can see when others are transmitting, but you can't see. I'm sure, like 100% sure, that'll be fixed by the next beta weekend even. But I may be coming into this as a newbie to this type of game, but regardless of that, it felt really good, and I had such an amazing time playing the game and playing the players of the game. Oh man, you know, just being able to talk to people straight up. You can walk up to someone, you can just approach them and start talking to them as if in the real world. You know, it's a little weird sometimes in like World of Warcraft or whatever. You run up to someone, stand in front of them there. That's how you communicate. A little weird. It feels so much more natural, and you get to be you in a game where you can just walk up to someone, hold a button in, and then speak your piece. Sure, this could potentially lead to some abuse. I mean, obviously, I had my fair share of swearing and, like, verbal abuse, which I enjoyed. I mean, I took it all in because this is the internet. This is the kind of thing that happens. But, you know, some people obviously won't be like me and they won't take it with a light heart. They won't just enjoy it for what it is. And I really did. Okay, I had so much fun getting up to no good in the Dark Zone, leading players astray, both physically and mentally. Okay, that was really fun. Playing mind games with people, leading them around. Like, I don't know if you guys watched the highlights, but at one point I was killed by a dude in a white jacket, and I think there was actually me shooting at the guy and then dying, so it was like 100% my fault. But then I met a bunch of people. It started off by me just meeting 1 or 2 people, okay, and I convinced these people that there's this guy in a white jacket that's going around murdering people, and we gotta get him, we gotta stop him. And they were like, yes, this is terrible. And they were obviously new to the game as well, okay, so they all got caught up in it. And then suddenly we had 8 people, and we were going around, they were like, hey, and these are the other people now. They're like, hey, this guy's got a white jacket, is it him? Is he the guy? And I was like, no, that's not white enough. That's a similar jacket, but that's not the guy. Perhaps he wants to come with us and we can find him together. And we just kept going, and this like picked up traction, and eventually, well, it ended up in a gunfight. Okay, everyone started dying, everyone started shooting. It was crazy, and it was so exhilarating. It was so much fun. And then, like, there was the portion where I found this guy, and I was telling him, you know, it's kind of scary down here, you don't want to come down if you have a heart condition, you know, lots of people died down here. And then we're going down into this subway with these dead bodies and stuff lying down there, and I could clearly see that my words were getting to him. They were really making him think about all this, because he kept stopping, and I could see his character like looks this way, looks that way, and then he turns around and looks behind him, and you know, he was rattled just because of what I, as another player in this game, was saying to him about this area. So the whole Dark Zone PvP section of this game is, in my honest opinion, going to be a blast if you can make it a blast. And my first impressions of it, again, are so good. Now, I did say I'm new to this type of game, and because of that, I might be enjoying it more than maybe other people would. I'm not looking at the specifics. I'm not trying to analyze every single little bit, the balance, like these guns being too strong, these different areas you can camp in when you're going rogue being imbalanced or too hard to get someone out of. I'm not looking at all the little things that hardened vets might look at. I'm just coming in, looking at the game as a whole, and sort of thinking to myself, wow, this is a game I can have a lot of fun in. And because of that, well, the chances are really good I'll play it at launch. I wish more than anything that I'd be able to stream it at launch, but I don't think that's going to be able to happen. It's just a little bit too soon. I can't say enough good stuff about the PvP, the proximity-based voice chat, the interactions you can have with other players. I will seriously be able to talk about this for hours on end. So I'm going to stop. I'm just going to tell you that if you are able to make your own fun, and you can do this by going out there and not being afraid to interact with other people. You can go out there with some friends. That's another way of doing it. Just play with 1 or 2 friends. You know, hook up with a buddy. Say, hey, let's play The Division on launch. If you can do that, you can go out there and make your own fun. This game is for you, and it's going to be great. But again, these are just first impressions. Sure, it might end up being more of the same, but I want to say that if it is a lot more of that, I will enjoy it anyway. I'm trying to think of what's, like, negative. I didn't experience anything really bad. Sure, it's kind of tough when there are a bunch of Germans swearing at you in their native tongue. That will get to you eventually. But you have the option of shooting them. You have the option of, like, backing up, finding a crew of players, coming back in numbers and then shooting them. There are always problems with games like this, but they aren't really problems. You know, they end up being potential fun. That's what I'm going to say. I didn't experience very many bugs. I do once again think that the beta itself was probably just for balanced stuff. And yeah, sure. Okay, I think it would have been cooler if there were slightly more NPCs, mobs and stuff to kill in the Dark Zone, more loot crates that spawned or dropped or whatever. Like, a few more dynamic events happening. I'd actually say that they'd probably want to, like, double or triple the amount of dynamic events happening. Sort of like Guild Wars 2 does the events on their map, the dynamic events. where things happen at certain points of the map and that attracts the players to those points. That would be amazing if they had more of that. That's pretty much the only thing I can say that was not so great. Like, you had to sometimes run quite a bit to find other players or NPCs or whatever, but regardless of that, and I think that's again something they've already mentioned that they're going to work on, regardless of that, it was just a blast. Okay, it was a blast. But I'm done. Okay, I had a good time in the Division's beta. I'm going to play the next beta, which is an open beta, and I'll tweet about that. You know, maybe there are people that want to hook up and we can play together or whatever. I'll tweet about it. I'll tell you guys when I'm going to Dark Zone. You guys can head on in there and come and kill me. That would be fun. Whatever. And I'm definitely going to be trying to pick this up at launch. I'll see how it goes. Okay, I'll see how I feel after the next beta weekend, but thus far, impressions are good, and it's definitely, if you can play it in the right way, or with some good friends or whatever, worthy of a grand adventure. And in case you were wondering, the game's coming out on March the 8th. It's going to cost what AAA games usually cost, and you can find more information about it below. There you go. Check back here soon for more adventure-worthy episodes. Let me know what you thought of either what you saw of The Division or what you experienced yourself, because I'd love to hear. Love to have a little chat with you guys about this and about this type of game, because again, I'm new to it, so maybe I'm coming in and everything is just ooh shiny to me. I don't know, but there you go. If you just want to like, share it, and do all your stuff, most importantly though, happy Division, happy saving New York City, happy that.